Greetings, Butterfly Tribe, and welcome back to the Way You See Me Heart Healing Ministry. We're going to resume with our series on healing from childhood trauma. This is my 5th attempt to do this recording because I did not realize it would be so emotionally hard to revisit that place in time. Last recording, we ended with the summer before my senior year of high school. I was still 16 years old, entering into my senior year of high school. We're going to open with scripture. The scripture we're going to read today is Psalms 121. It is written, I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from YAHUAH, maker of the heavens and earth. He does not allow your foot to be moved. He who watches over you does not slumber. See, he who is guarding Yisra'ėl neither slumbers nor sleeps. YAHUAH is your guard. YAHUAH is your shade at your right hand. The sun does not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. YAHUAH guards you all. YAHUAH guards you from all evil. He guards your being. YAHUAH guards your going out and your coming in, now and forever. May YAHUAH add a blessing to the readers, hearers, and doers of his set-apart word. I was excited to start my senior year. I looked at it as my comeback year. I was ready to give my all in sports and in the classroom with hopes of getting a scholarship to play sports, particularly volleyball at the collegiate level, and I was hyped up for it. So senior year starts August of 1994. Volleyball season starts shortly after that. We have a very, very good volleyball season. We're doing well. And then we started elections for different clubs and organizations. And I was running for student council president against a classmate of mine who was also very well known in our school, intellectually sound. He had been in this club probably all 4 years, very well respected. My Aunt Madeline, helped me prepare my speech, and she helped me prepare an awesome speech. I can remember giving the speech, and we ended it with the letters of my name, all representing a different characteristic that I would bring to the position. And it was excellent. This was the first time I stood in front of the student body to do anything other than sports, other than basketball, volleyball, or track. I stood and did poetry for different things. My first poem was published by the National Library of Poetry my sophomore year of high school, and it was titled Silent Prayer. So I was invited different places to do poetry, but to speak about something, this was my first attempt doing it. And I was proud of myself for getting up in front of the student body, our entire student body, and representing myself very well. I did not win. He won, of course. But I was proud of myself. So, good start, right? Homecoming. I was invited to go to homecoming by a classmate whose name was Love, a young man that I had gone to school with for a couple of years. But I wasn't in the dating phase of life at that time. I just was all about focusing on sports and trying to get a scholarship. So I said no. And I ended up going to homecoming alone with a group of female friends, meeting them there, hanging out with them, and representing the National Honor Society that year for homecoming. That night, we learned that Love had taken his life. It broke my heart to hear the news, and I had some guilt about it. And then at the same time, I was glad that I had said no, because that could have ended another way. It could have had another outcome. But I felt bad that this young man had taken his own life. I don't know the circumstances behind his death, but in one of my other recordings, I shared that I hated birthdays because something bad always happened on my birthday. Several times it had been people that I knew, older people that I've known, who died on my birthday. One guy, a distant cousin, was shot and killed on my birthday when I was younger, maybe about 10, 11 years old. I remember slamming my finger in the car door one birthday. I did not like birthdays. I bring up Love, the Most High rest his soul, because he took his life on my 17th birthday, October 8th, 1994. Again, Most High rest his soul. Volleyball season for me was awesome. I was one of the key players to lead the team to the playoffs that year. And in the second round of the playoffs, I think we were playing, I think, Notre Dame, but I could be wrong. It was a Catholic school, but we lost. And I can remember the final play. We were playing strong, and it was a very close game. But I can remember the final play of the game like it was yesterday. The ball came over the net to our team. We were on defense. My teammate bumped the ball to the setter. The setter set the ball to me, and I went for the kill. The set wasn't perfect, but I thought I could adjust and kill it instead of just bumping it over. And I hit the ball into the net. And that's how my senior year ended. It was detrimental to me. And I remember crying at the end of that season. But I had a great season. My statistics for volleyball were always great. And that was why I was hoping to get an offer for a scholarship to play at the collegiate level. I had the grades and the ability. The only thing I wanted was a chance to do so. So that's how it ended. Basketball season was another. We made it to the playoffs our senior year as well. We never made it to like the state championship game, to the Sweet 16 or anything like that. But we had a very good team. We did very well in district. My friend and I made all district. And this is where it gets tricky at, because this best friend had been my best friend since 4th grade. We were thick as thieves, and nothing came between us. But the enemy comes to kill, to steal, and destroy. And during basketball season of our senior year, the enemy came and he sowed discord in between us. And instead of us working together, he made it seem like we were competing against each other. Now, the enemy worked through people close to us. So this wasn't us. We just had people in our ear. And when we had classmates and teammates who also came in between us, and before you know it, but by the end of basketball going into track season, the best friend that I had from 4th grade until present time, the person who had been there for me through thick and thin, the person that I could share anything, their house became my safe haven even during my pregnancy. We were no longer friends. Senior year became a series of losses. Being told I wasn't good enough. I just wanted my teenage years to go back to normal, and they never did. I was no longer, just like in that church setting when I told you I didn't belong. Like, I was around kids my age, but my life was seen different. And even when I tried to date again, it wasn't my classmates, it wasn't the kids, their parents still didn't see me as good enough. I was different. And that's not words that they said, that's how I perceived it. That was my perception. So I reached a point to where I believed what people said. I started to believe what they were saying about me. And this is the point in my life where I avoided drugs, I avoided alcohol, I avoided smoking, because addiction had my mom's addiction had taken so much from me that I was so afraid of addictions that I didn't even try, because addiction had ruined my teenage years. But this is where addiction entered my life. Love became my addiction. I was searching for that feeling of being loved again. And that feeling, for me, love was the addiction. So a drug addict, if I was a drug addict, then I would have to buy that addiction, right? And so the payment for that love that I wanted, that feeling that I wanted, became sex. I didn't necessarily want it, but I wanted what was associated with it. So the exchange was the temporary feeling of being wanted and desired. And then that person became the supplier. So once I was once it dawned on me, or once I perceived that I wasn't good enough to be loved, then I walked away from everything associated to love, real love. And in my head, I had lost so much of myself, given so much of myself for this feeling, that at one point, I think I started to use them, the male species, like they used me. And no, don't get me wrong, I wasn't out there doing body counts like people say today. I would give what they were willing to give with no feeling whatsoever. I was empty. And so that led me down this deep, dark tunnel of detaching further and further from the Most High and what I once believed in and what I once desired, which was to truly be loved by someone and respected by someone. And that had been ruined, so I stopped looking for that. And again, I'm in high school, 17 years old. So we get to the end of school and all these little L's begin to add up. I lost friendships, relationships, or a relationship. I lost my self-esteem, my self-confidence, a sense of my self-worth. And then we get to the end of school year where we have our athletic awards in-house, in school athletic awards. And I can remember sitting there and my coach was describing the person that would get the outstanding athlete award that year. And I was so excited. My cousin had gotten that award when she was a senior in high school. And I knew that that award came along with a small monetary, like a scholarship. Well, as he described who the athlete was, once he said this female jumps higher than, I knew that the award would be me. But I was shocked. I was shocked that I did it because we had athletes in our school who played 4 sports. I played 3. I played basketball, volleyball, and track. And yes, I did well in those sports. But I never expected it to be me. I wanted it to be me, but I didn't expect it. Well, it was me, and I won that award. And just as proud as I was about winning the most athletic or outstanding athlete award, it was ripped away because they gave me the award and they gave my best friend the scholarship that went along with it. And like I said at the time, we weren't even friends. We weren't hanging out anymore. And I was heartbroken. It was the end of school year. I had not received any scholarship offers. And I remember as it got closer to the end of the school year, I asked my coach about it, and I was told that I broke the moral code for a scholarship. The moral code. It's amazing how we're judged in the eyes of other people. So all the hard work that I put in to keeping my grades up, being homeschooled to make sure I didn't fall behind, all the extra work I put in to make sure that physically I was ready for my senior year, getting myself back to a place where I could compete at a level I was proud of. All to be told, I was never in the running for an athletic scholarship because I broke the moral code when I got pregnant. They could have saved me a whole lot of trouble because I still would have done well in school. But what was the point? At least that's how I thought. So just a whole bunch of L's for the team. And so it's graduation time, and I graduate, and what should have been our most exciting time, my best friend and I we weren't even friends when we graduated. The enemy, I'm looking back, what I felt in that moment was that the enemy has successfully stolen everything I've ever dreamed of. The scholarship, the opportunity to play at the collegiate level. He's stolen my friend. He stole the sense of love from me. And that's how senior year went. Just a series of losses. And how I came to that conclusion was, I got a few years ago, about 2-3 years ago, the Most High told me that it would all come. He was bringing it all full circle. And he brought me back to high school years, and he actually showed me the doorways and entry points where the enemy came in, where the covering was removed. When my stepdad walked out, the later he showed me how the enemy, but this is my during my teenage high school years, how the enemy came in. He showed me the doorway he used was when my stepdad walked out. The covering from our family was removed. My covering was removed. And so as I sat there, I got on my bike, the stationary bike, a couple days ago, and I had been putting off on discussing this particular version of the losses because I didn't want to get emotional. And this is only the school part of it, because I have to break school and home life up separately because it would have been way too long. So I'm going to come back and tell you what was going on in my home life parallel to all this going on in school, in academics and athletics, my senior year. So I get on the bike and I'm just doing my regular, trying to complete my 60-minute cardio. And as I got closer and closer to 60 minutes, it's like I got this extra energy, and I kept riding, and these flashbacks about high school and my life kept going through this like repeated stage over and over. And I just started riding the bike faster and faster and faster. I couldn't make myself stop, and I couldn't figure out what I was running from or what I was, riding towards. I just knew I couldn't stop. And tears started flowing down my eyes, and I was like, what is wrong with me? And he said, I told you I would bring it all full circle. And I used to say, I'm coming back for everything the enemy stole from me. But I don't want everything back that he stole from me. I only want back what the Most High said was supposed to be mine. That's it. I only want what was written in my book. what he said Trisha would have. I only want what he promised me and what he spoke over my life. Anything else, I don't want. And that's how my senior year of high school went. From the academic school perspective. I'll come back with the next recording of what was happening in my home life, my everyday home life, while all of that was going on. Thank you for joining us. Join us again for the next recording of The Way You See Me, Heart Healing Ministry.